Now, Nigeria's Aliko Dangote, the richest black man in the world, has been attacked by Nigeria again and again, despite his interest to serve the country, to save the economy of Nigeria. It was this year, in the beginning of this year, that he started his $20 billion cost of the refinery, oil refinery company in Nigeria to produce around 650,000 barrels per day. And even for that, he went through hell as opposition from the government, who have been benefiting from the corrupted system of the government, have been attacking him. But guess what? Again and again, he proves that he's a man who was there to save his country from unnecessary cost. Now, the new deal that he's offering has a potential to save 14.3 billions of dollars, which is an annual cost of Nigeria by importing fuel from outside. Now, what those costs look like, what were the costs that has been incurred, this unnecessary cost by the Nigerian government. Now, what is the new offer from Aliko Dangote? These are the things that we are going to look at in this video. Also, we will share with you views that has been shared by analysts of oil. Okay, so stay with us and we are going to reveal everything. So here it says, the headline, as you can see, new Dangote deal to save Nigeria 14 billion yearly. For decades, Nigeria has relied on importers to meet fuel demand, spending about 15 billion annually, but with new alliances aimed at cutting these expenses by investing in homegrown economy, in homegrown also energy, targeting affordable petrol for consumers and boosting the economy. Now, let me just pause there and remind you, when Dangote first revealed, after the company was established back in April, now it's going to be a year in April, after 4 months, down 4 months after it started taking out crude oils, refining oil. Then he revealed in the Afri-Exim Bank in Caribbean, in the conference in Caribbean, that his company was almost like non-existent because of the international oil cartels in Nigeria that are operating and stealing oil from the country. This is, of course, by the government becoming an accomplice to this. Nigeria, in fact, because there was 20 each, I think, every day, more than 100,000 of barrels per day has been looted from Nigeria and going to, they even have their own canal or route to take that, to steal that oil, divert it, and take it where they want it. Now, even Nigeria was out of OPEC because it cannot produce to the amount, the number of crude oils became less, that OPEC has to take it out because the requirement for Nigeria was 1.5 million crude oils barrels per day. Okay, that was the agreement, but it was below that apparently because of the looting. Aliko Dangote, not only they prevented him from establishing his company, but also even when he said that I have this qualified oil that I can present, I can sell to my country, then what they did is that they continued to import this refined oil from the West, because they have to enrich them, because they have to serve them While, guess what? This is the irony. The Western companies are buying actually because they know that it's a high standard, a qualified oil refined by Dangote. They have been importing that to Brussels, to even the Netherlands have done it, and to the US countries have been importing Dangote's oil, and instead they have been dumping their substandard product in Nigeria. This is the amount, the extent of looting, exploitation that's going on in Nigeria. What is sickening is that their own people, the government is part of it. It's responsible for this. It's right there under its nose who is doing this, but they just keep quiet. Why? We all know now from CIA leaked news that Bola Tinubu, the head of state of Nigeria, is actually an asset to CIA. CIA is not even ashamed of to tell us this. He's just throwing it on our face. Now, let me continue on the article and reflect on that. So just for you to understand, it's after all these attacks, again, that Dangote is proposing this. Now, this is as Nigeria's petrol, this is the article, okay? This is as Nigeria's petrol imports went up in October, according to a report from the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Company, OPEC. Data shows that oil marketers in the country imported a whopping 1.5 million metric tons of petrol and 4.14 million metric tons of diesel, respectively, between October 1 and November 11, just, in 5 or 6 weeks, a document obtained by the press. Imagine. And how many billions of dollars paid for this? This is 1.9 billion, close to $2 billion Nigeria paid this. Nigeria don't have a foreign currency. The currency, the Naira, is suffering from high inflation to have that consistency. And still, you take a debt from these so-called international financial institutions like World Bank and IMF, and then you immediately, it doesn't even come to the country, by the way. It just go from their bank to the next bank. It doesn't even reach to Nigeria. It's just so sickening. I don't know where Nigeria gets it. Okay, now this increase happened even though the Dangote Petroleum Refinery began making petrol in September and selling it instead of stopping that importing. But guess what they were doing? They were fighting Dangote to put him out of the market and even accusing him this is not a good quality, until we have witnessed that actually Brussels, Rotterdam, and others, the US, have started to import. Not only they are buying petrol from Dangote, they are even buying jet fuel from Dangote, because it's the technology that he has in Dangote refinery is unparalleled by any refinery company in the world. This is why they are buying. And instead, of course, they don't want to close their old refineries. They dump that thing. They know the Nigerian market is big. They dump it into Nigeria with the accomplice of their own people. This is what is going on. Okay, we continue. Now, OPEC monthly oil market report showed that while petrol imports are still 60% lower than the same time in 2023, more petrol was brought into the country between September and October 2024. Can you imagine? Even OPEC is telling us this wasn't the price. It was a low price. I don't know why Nigeria was importing such a big amount just in 1 month. Now, during this time, several ships arrived in Nigeria between September and November. We are talking about several ships arrived in Nigeria carrying petrol, particularly when fuel sellers were having disagreements with Dangote refinery. All of them were frustrated. So, they don't know where to dump their their substandard oil, their dirty oil that brings, that endangers the public health. So they were all aligned when that disagreement happens. All these ships were aligned in Nigeria to dump it, so that the one that's fighting Dangote, including the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, wins and start to import so that their business can be sustained. This is how they live. It's disgusting, now, reports show that during October, most of the petrol imported into Nigeria and West Africa came from where? That's exactly what I'm talking about. From Europe. Europe buys from Dangote and dumps its own refined oil in Nigeria. This is what's happening. OPEC quoted Argus. Argus is a market analyst saying, quote, gasoline exports to West Africa strengthened and compensated for a drop in flows to the US. Does that familiar? Very much. This is what they do when they put out. Also, the same is happening with their farmers. They take out of the market our own farmers, local farmers who take loan from banks and have that big challenges even to become a company. And then when they start that, even it's an organic product to distribute to the people and start making money, what does Europe and the West do in general in US? Because they want also their farmers to survive, they subsidize their farmers, okay, and allows them to bring and dump you their genetically modified products in Africa and put your own farmers out of the market. And the same is happening with their gas producers or fuel refiners. This is what they're doing. And this is exactly what OPEC is doing. It's not even us Pan-Africanists analyzing or whatever. It's OPEC telling you this, what's happening in Nigeria. Now, imports to Nigeria were reported to have surged compared to the level registered in September, despite still remaining 60% lower year on year. However, the new agreements amongst the Nigerian Petroleum Company Limited, that's NNPC, the very corrupted one, and then now Dangote Refinery, and independent oil marketers, the one who are distributing, to that may end the long-standing issue over fuel imports. Because amid this, imagine now, even the coalition of civil society organizations in Nigeria has called for a nationwide protest if the government does not step up and enable Dangote Refinery to sell this refined oil to the Nigerians instead of what it is importing. In fact, this coalition for civil society organization has also requested for the government to be accountable and tell them what happened to the 3 big refineries that the government has built since 2007, and they're sitting just dormant without doing anything. And $20 billion people taxes has been spent on these refineries, but nothing is done, no operation. Why? Because they have to continue to import fuel from the West. They have to keep on. I mean, Europe is living. It's like a parasite on Africa. If there is no market, if it's not taking natural resource from Africa, it cannot have anything. If it's not dumping its product in Africa, it cannot live. Actually, Europe is living on the back of Africa. It's like a parasitic life it has. It's just sickens me talking about it, and why our people cannot get this and get their acts together. What is it's all in their hands to say no and to protect their own market. Look what happens, the trade war between US and China, or EU and China. Isn't it all about protectionism? Who are you to perform a free market or liberal market without protecting your own economy? Yeah, so Now, the NNPC and oil marketers will now take petrol directly from local refiner Dangote instead of importing it, aiming to reduce import costs, stabilize petrol prices, and make fuel more affordable for consumers. Let's hope this is practicable. Let's hope this is not just thrown to our face just for the purpose of media consumption, okay? Just to tell us, oh, NNPC is doing something good, while we all know that it's deeply rooted, it's deeply connected with corruption. We just give it a few days and see what will come out. Anyway, now energy experts, now these are what the analysts are sharing. Faiz Nuadishi praises this move for its potential to strengthen the economy. Quote, if we begin to buy products from Dangote, we will be able to save at least 24 trillion of naira, that is in dollar 14.3 billions of dollars yearly. Nigeria depends on that. The economy depends on that. If there's no fuel, you see the hardship it takes on people. Products cannot come from farmers to markets, according to now the report. Another analyst, David Atim, shared that he believes that this is the right step towards energy independence. Now, quote, he said, energy self-sufficiency or energy dependency is actually a national security issue. It's like food security. No country in the world that depends on outsiders to provide such an essential input to its social life as energy can call itself independent. So the fact that Nigeria has moved from energy dependency to energy independence is a significant move in a very positive direction. Well, let's hope that this will be really put into action. Now, Nigerians currently pay high fuel prices, with some areas like Naira 1,200 per liter. That is 0.71 cents dollar per liter. So the deal raises this deal between the corrupted government, Dangote refinery, and the different oil marketers is raising hope of the people. Consumers, such as, for example, this man was quoted, Felix Chukwumeka, an Abuja businessman feeling the heat of rising prices, eagerly await for a relief. He said, from my house to my junction, we used to pay Naira 300, but now we are paying Naira 600. Look at the inflation, okay? So you can see the expense is doubled. It would be very exciting to many of us, especially in the business sector, if the price of petrol can be reduced, because it will really enhance our business. Now, despite the optimism, Nigeria's 4 refineries remain non-functional, raising sustainability concerns. The one I told you that the Coalition for Civil Society Organization is asking for accountability, the whereabouts of the 20 billions of dollars, and how since 2007 those money amounting for 20 billion of dollars are spent in the name of maintaining those refineries. Now, senior economist Paul Alaje says the need to revamp refineries and stabilize the currency for lasting gains. He said the more you abandon your refinery, it becomes moribund, it becomes a sunk cost to the economy. And sadly, this is a reality today. Nigerians will be looking at a price between Naira 500 and 600 per liter for petroleum. But do I think this is achievable even under this current agreement? I doubt very much. Why? There is a big elephant in the room. This elephant is called the exchange rate. He stressed. I actually share his being pessimist there because that's Nigeria. There's a lot of things Nigeria has to fix. When they give you one thing, the other one is not fixed. It's so corrupted. So yeah, he's pessimist now, this man, whether this is achievable at all. While the new alliances in the oil sector signal a positive step towards stable, affordable fuel, experts stress the need for transparency, accountability, and strict implementation to ensure that Nigerians benefit. Yes, implementation is important, not throwing this for media consumption. For now, there has been no notable impact on the cost of fuel or petroleum across the country. However, if successful, these agreements could mark a major shift for Nigeria oil industry, securing energy independence, easing prices, and boosting economy growth. Nigeria is a home for, more than 200 million people, and it's the most populated country. The economy is big, the potential is there big, the market is big. So they have to know really what to do. The people have to know, have to throw away, have to cut this corrupted system. Again and again, elected governments are once again confirming that they are serving the West. So, in all this, I really doubt how this is achievable. But call me pessimist if you have a different view. You may agree or disagree, but I would love to hear from you. What are your takes on this? But for me, Dangote is not only the richest black man, he's the man actually who is there to change the dynamic, this neo-colonialism. And he's going to bring that economic freedom in Nigeria. If Nigeria gets it, the whole continent will get it. Thank you very much for tuning in. And please, share the video with others. Give it thumbs up if you find it informative enough to you. And also subscribe to the channel. You may please support us through our PayPal account. That will help us to be here more often and bring you what's happening in the world, and particularly in the continent that it impacts Africans at home or abroad. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.